I guess I'm live. Okay. So I've got this at a very weird angle right here. Um, so the reason why I'm on here is because I'm talking about anxiety. Uh, on Facebook, I'm in a group that has to deal with panic, anxiety, the things that people go through with anxiety. Sorry. And anyway, so I put a comment on this one specific comment because this person was suffering from a panic attack and they were wondering what they could do with it or do for it. And I put on there what I had learned uh, with the anxiety that I've had. A little bit of backstory about me is I happened to witness my mother unexpectedly passing away. And I just happened to be there when it happened. And it shook me up so bad that it caused me to have panic attacks for 2 months. I was having 5 panic attacks a day. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't expect it to be that long. But anyhow, so what I read in an article, I don't know specifically on Facebook, I did see a video about panic attacks on Facebook, that using ice or drinking ice water helps with that. And so anyway, I started trying that. I'd get a piece of ice and I'd just put a piece of ice in my mouth and I'd let it melt. And I'd focus on how cold the ice was and focusing on how it was melting in my mouth. And focusing on something else other than feeling all, tense from the anxiety that you have, feeling the adrenaline rush of the anxiety that you have. If you put your mind on something else, something as simple as ice, it will help distract from the anxiety. Plus the cold from the ice distracts from the anxiety. There's other things also that you can do. And this is like the video that I made on Facebook Live. But anyhow, there's other things that you can do that we do every single day that we don't think about when we are in the moment of having anxiety. When we have anxiety, we get all locked up, as I said, and all we're thinking about is, especially with panic, you feel like you want to run away. You get an adrenaline rush and you just want to take off running. Sometimes there's times when I get so tense or I get so worked up, I feel like I want to run through a wall. As an example, I was standing in my kitchen and I was doing dishes, and I'm standing there and I'm washing dishes, and all of a sudden I had one of those adrenaline rushes and I felt like I needed to run away. It's just simply standing there doing dishes. So, just simply calming down, trying to calm down. What I started doing is I started focusing on how the water felt on my hands. I started focusing on scrubbing the dishes, even though in my mind, in that moment of having anxiety, I couldn't get the dishes done fast enough. But just simply focusing on how the water feels, how the soap feels when you're doing dishes, that did help. There's other things that you can do, and it's all called coping or distraction techniques that you can do. You can do painting if you're creative. You can draw if you like being creative in other ways. If you like writing poetry, if you like journaling, if you like singing. Singing is very therapeutic for anxiety. There, for a little while, whenever I was having panic attacks, I would hyperventilate. As you know, if you have anxiety, you tend to hyperventilate. Well, that's what I did. I started focusing on singing. Whenever you sing, you're not thinking, or let's just say if you're anxious, you don't think about focusing on my breathing completely. You don't think that way. With singing, you focus on your breathing. You focus on how long you hold out your note. And you focus on the lyrics, which technically takes you out of an anxious thought. So you can do that. Singing is very therapeutic. Sing something that is uplifting. Doesn't have to be completely uplifting, but sing something uplifting, something that makes you feel better. I don't care if it's, as I used an example in the Facebook Live video, I don't care if you sing Inner Sandman, something that you like, that puts you in a better mood, that you like singing a song you know the lyrics to, something that has a really good beat to it or whatever, and just takes you out of that thought process of anxiety. You can fix a meal, you can cook, you can fix your sandwich, sit down, have a bite to eat. You can put a piece of candy in your mouth. There's something about, especially when you're having anxiety or panic, there's something about something like a piece of candy or a piece of food, even a piece of ice in your mouth, that focusing on that is a complete distraction. So you can do that. You can go for a walk. You can go for a run. I mean, however, just sit down when you're in an anxious mood, having anxious thoughts, getting all worked up, getting tensed up. Sit down, try the ice first, try the ice water, and focus on the ice, focus on how cold it is and how it's melting in your mouth, and try and get yourself to calm down while you're sitting there, even doing some breathing. My therapist yesterday, I had an update. I'm doing better with my anxiety, but I'll get to that in a minute. She said, whenever you're feeling all tense, because anxiety tends to make you feel locked up, like you just feel stuck. And with me, with the anxiety that I have, I do feel stuck. And there's times that I feel extremely restless and I can't sit still. So what you can do, that she told me, is if you feel locked up inside, if you feel all tense, put a color on the feeling that you have. I don't care what color it is. It could be a lavender color. I don't care. But label or name that color that you have as a negative. Okay? And then think of a color that will be your positive. Because when you do your breathing, when you exhale, the color that you labeled as your negative feeling or negative breath, say for instance lavender, will be your negative that you release, that you exhale. Your positive will be the color pink, and you inhale the color pink and you exhale lavender, and you focus on the colors, which will also be a distraction, which I thought was really cool. I've heard of that before, but I've never really tried it, so I'm going to try that even more. Breathing does help. So, update about me. Just wanted to say real quick. I said I was going to do some short videos, but I saw this post on Facebook and I really wanted to say something about this on YouTube Live in case anyone, everything that's going on. There's a lot of people suffering from anxiety, completely felt. But I'm doing better. I still have some setbacks, and but it's just progress. Whenever you feel anxious, be easy on yourself. Take it easy. Sit down. Take breaks. There's times that even distraction doesn't help me, and I'll have to lay down and take a nap. Anxiety puts you in a fight or flight mode. With me, whenever I get anxious, I want to take off running. I want to get away. I don't want to come back. I mean, it's just in that moment that I feel that way. But it passes. It alleviates. And it's just how I feel. There's times that it will get so overwhelming that I will feel like I need to run through a wall. And then there's times that it feels like, and I'm sure people with anxiety, they feel the same way. There's times that I feel like I want to come out of my skin. I've also had symptoms of anxiety or panic. They're saying it's a weird form of a panic attack that I'm having, but I also have some symptoms of PTSD. A couple of symptoms that I've had, and they don't happen as much, but a couple of symptoms that I've had, I get agoraphobic and I get claustrophobic feelings at the same time, which technically feels like I don't want someone touching me and I don't want to go anywhere. It's just, but I feel all balled up inside, which is, as I said, panic. And another thing that my doctor and my therapist and my family and my friends have told me, and I've been in therapy in the past, and this is something that holds true to everything that I've experienced so far, is whenever you're having feelings that way, or you're having thoughts, and I realize it's difficult to just say, let it go. Allow the thought and just kind of let it pass by. Like, say, for instance, I'm in your mind, you're saying I'm having a panic attack and you're freaked out. Okay. But realize it's a symptom. Realize you're going to be okay. Sit there and just allow that thought to pass by you. Focus on your distractions, your ice water, whatever you do to help with your anxiety. And eventually it will alleviate. Of course, if you need to talk to someone, there's always therapy. If you need, to speak to your doctor, of course, do that. Speak to your family, your friends, your support group, however. And, but anyway, it's a process. It is exhausting. Anxiety can be a pain in the butt. That's what I've experienced. I still have some level of anxiety, and I think I always will, considering how bad I was shaken up by losing my mom. But it gradually does get better. It's difficult to describe, but there is some way of feeling that it is a little bit better. Okay. You're still going to have your bad days like any other day, but it's just, it is what it is sometimes, but it does get better at some point. And so anyway, another thing also, whenever you feel all tightened up like that, whenever you feel all kind of trapped or whatever, dancing helps. Put on some uplifting music, or something with a really good rhythm to it, and just kind of dance a little bit. You don't got to be freaking choreographer or whatever. Dance. Put some movement in your body. Move furniture. I don't give a crap what you do. Get the anxious energy you have in your mind, the anxious energy you have in your body out. I've been told also, with the anxiety that I've had, that sometimes you just need to scream. I did that one time. Just an example. I saw a woman at the grocery store, sweetest woman ever. And I had a couple of items and she was ahead of me. And she looked over her shoulder. She had a little buggy. She looked over her shoulder and looked at me and she said, "You want to go ahead of me?" I said, "No, thank you, ma'am." I said, "I appreciate it. I'll be just fine." She said, "Okay." And in her mannerism, she reminded me so much of my mother. And I about lost it. I about not only cried, but almost had a panic attack. That day, I was just going to go home, make some stew, And she went checked out all her groceries and stuff. And I followed behind her and going out to my car. She's going out to her car. And I said, "You have a good day, ma'am." And she said, "You do the same." And so anyway, somehow, after going to the grocery store, we ended up at the intersection together. And I'm going to go straight through the intersection. She's going to turn left. And I just tapped on the window because she reminded me so much of my mother. And on the way home, I cried my eyes out. And I'm sitting in the driveway crying my eyes out. And I remembered my friend telling me to scream if I needed to, because it helps with releasing. So, turned up the radio in the car, rolled up the window, and a song came on that my mother said reminded her of me. And I started crying my eyes out, and I screamed as hard as I could. And I kid you not, just screaming and crying like that calmed me down for 4 days. It almost silenced this feeling I have inside me of tension. So, not saying screaming's the best solution, but I'm saying what worked for me and what my friend suggested. So it is exhausting. My doctor told me that having been through anxiety for so long with my body, it's fight or flight. It's adrenaline. Your body gets exhausted after a while. And there for a while, I did sleep quite a lot, did take naps. And he said, that's my body unwinding from being so tense. And was he right? I still have days where I'm like that. So if you need to take a nap, take a nap. You know, put on a show that you like, something relaxing, and know that it does get a bit better. It may not be completely better, especially from loss, but there's someone that has anxiety from grieving that is going through the same thing that you're going through. I feel you. But I'm just sharing my experiences that I've had with the anxiety that I have had. And it is absolutely horrible. And I wish you luck. All I'm saying is the distraction techniques that have worked for me. So anyway, I just wanted to give an update, some experiences that I've had and what has worked for me. And that's it. And I'm sorry I look like a hot mess right now, but you guys take care. Have a good day. Love you. Bye.